Live on the first hole, Justin Rose.
Playing the tips today, Sean. First hole playing 130.
That's the voice of Curtis Strange. I'm Sean McDonough, along with Andy North. Between the three of us, we've combined to win 4 U.S. Open championships. Tom Rinaldi will be conducting interviews out on the par 3 course this afternoon. Cloudy and very comfortable here at the Augusta National Golf Club as we welcome you. Temperature in the low 70s. Kiradech Apibanrat of Thailand, the 28-year-old.
Actually very lucky. The forecast was not good at all, but rain showers went through this morning. Missing us just south right now, so glad to have the par 3 being played this year. Wasn't played last year.
Canceled for the first time in its history due to severe weather. This was a birdie putt at the first hole for the #1 player in the world, Dustin Johnson. That was just a moment ago, so he's off to a good start. That's back live on the first tee. Harry Ellis, the 22-year-old from England, British amateur champion, and Florida State Seminole. Last time this event was contested, 2016, there were 9 holes in one. We expect to see at least a couple before this day is finished.
There's a few spots in this golf course where the holes are cut in areas where the ball spins off of hills, so we'll definitely see something go in, guaranteed.
Now at the second hole, the shortest of the 9 holes, it's 70 yards.
This might be the shortest shot he hits all week.
This is a hole that we've had some aces on over the years. And this one, that's how you do it. Throw it up there just past the hole to the left, let it drizzle back down the hill.
Well, we talked a lot about DJ this morning on SportsCenter, and it is a lot of people think he's the man to beat this week. His length, his ability to play, he's playing well.
Just before we came on the air, this is the 9th hole. Tommy Fleetwood will be playing in his second Masters beginning tomorrow. A birdie to finish his round.
He is really an underrated player. He's won all over the world. Great golf swing.
He's who I picked for the dark horse.
Oh,
he's the leader right now.
You're a smart man, Curtis.
5 under. 2 years ago, the last time it was contested, 9 under, the record-winning score by Jimmy Walker. John Rahm on the par 3 course is 1 under, and Dustin Johnson about to go to 2 under as he has this for birdie at the second hole.
Well, as we've always said, no man has ever won the par 3 and gone on to win the big tournament, and you really don't want to win the par 3 because you know all about the history. So what does DJ do as he progresses his round?
There's a couple of lakes between him and the end.
That's right.
There are some that we spoke with this week, though, who said they want to be the first to do both.
You know what? I couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
But how many times did you lay off and knock one in the water to make sure it didn't happen? Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Well, it happened once, yes. You know.
Apibanrat will have that for par. 4 times a winner on the European Tour and a rising star internationally. Sir Nick Faldo at the 4th hole, 130 yards.
And past champions are allowed to play here. They stopped the honorary invitees from playing the par 3 in practice rounds 2 years ago, which I think personally was a good thing, but good to see the past champions like old Nick playing here at the par 3.
Ellis. Tap in par. Can imagine how excited he is at 22, about to play in his first Masters. Last chance really to relax, right? When he walks off the course today, the jitters you'd think would really kick in.
Well, I think they've been around all week. This is a fun 2 hours and kind of a little getaway from. But once you come in the gates the very first day this week, you're anxious. You know what's ahead of you. You know it's a hard, long marathon. You're going to be forced to play over these next 4 days.
Well, I always felt like this, it was, yes, a day to relax a little bit, but still you could grind on some 3 and 4 footers a little bit,
Yeah.
kind of get the feel so that when you went into Thursday morning, you weren't just cold.
If Afi Bonrat's caddy looks
Yes.
familiar, she is Arya Jatanagarn, fine player on the LPGA Tour.
She's a superstar.
I think she's taking credit for that good read there. She celebrates the par putt. Seven wins on the LPGA Tour.
Had a top 5 finish last week.
Right behind us on the 9th tee, Kevin Chappell.
What's really fun about this hole, there's a ridge about 15 feet behind the hole. You can throw it back there and the ball will just release right back down to where the hole's cut. If you hit a little bit left, it comes back down the hill and goes to the right. If you hit a little bit to the right, it comes back, goes a little bit left. So you've got a great opportunity to make an ace.
I'll never forget Arnold making one from the back of this green not too long ago, and the place erupted.
Great part of the fun, the opportunity for the families to be out on the par 3 course. That's Jonathan Vegas getting a little help, breaking the bunker.
That's how practice goes a lot of evenings. You don't get a lot done.
And the Chappell family on the way to the 9th green. He's hit the closest shot of the day at 9 so far. Now Nick Faldo for birdie.
And you know Nick is grinding. He is absolutely grinding. He'd love to win this thing.
It's the only thing he knows is about grinding.
Ooh.
Sounded a little fat.
When you get an O that quickly, that's not a good sign, is it?
No.
Yusako Miyazato.
4, please, Austin Cook on the tee.
We go ahead to 2. And now back on the first tee, just heard Austin Cook introduced. Had a terrific career at the University of Arkansas. 27 years old, be playing in his first Masters beginning tomorrow. We head to the 8th hole, Tyrrell Hatton.
Downhill par 3. Beautiful hole. This 9 holes, this piece of acreage over here just to the.
Go, baby. Go, baby. Go, baby.
You know, they're very, very fast, is all I can say.
They try to make them identical to the course they're going to play tomorrow.
Which is perfect, yeah. I remember when they had Bermuda still on the big course, and they went
here first.
and they came here first with the bent. We said if they ever put this bent on the big course, we wouldn't finish. Well, sure enough, that's what happened.
I'd like to come out here and sneak out here on Monday afternoon and hit some pitches and putts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a nice place to practice and there's no one around, and you could replicate shots you get on the big course.
Yep.
Greens cut to 1/8 of an inch. As you can see with the ripples on Ike's Pond, bit of a breezy day. Expected to get up to around 15 miles per hour. Forecast good for Thursday and Friday, the first 2 rounds, with cooler temperatures than usual in the low 70s. I don't know if she is qualified. Is she in the union? The audio union. Billy Horschel has Skylar and Colby, his children. It's Colby helping out with our audio situation.
There you take a look at. It's so pretty over here, as I was just saying, just to the left of all the cottages and on this property, and just it's as pretty a place. It's, let's just say our front yards don't look this nice, Sean.
And there's been a few members pull some bass out of this pond right
There's some
behind
big
us.
bass in this pond, yes.
The Lakes Pond right behind us was the idea of General Eisenhower on his second trip ever to Augusta. He suggested to then Chairman Clifford Roberts that they build a pond on this easternmost part of the property, and they did. Back now at the second hole.
And we'll talk as we go forward. Some of the players that a lot of the experts are talking about that should be a big part of this tournament as the weekend progresses. And Justin Rose is just one of those guys. He's been playing so well for the last 2 years, really ever since he developed on tour the last 6 or 8 years. Former U.S. Open champion, runner-up here last year, and really an elegant type of player.
Kevin Chappell with plenty of family assistance. Uh-oh. Wyatt. Well,
oh! I've done that.
Yeah. With a little bit more vigor than he did.
And not quite as big a smile.
That's enough.
Look at here, he's done. Night-night.
Chappells have made the trip in from Arizona. Now ahead to 2. Let's see how Aria read this putt.
That was the player's fault. Good read. That was the player's fault. Heard that a few times. We made it in the first hole. You missed it on the second.
7th hole. Ben Crenshaw, 2-time Masters champion.
And I believe 2-time par 3 champion as well.
Well, this is a fun hole. To get it close, you've got to take it way back to the right of the hole location. Let the slope bring it back down the hill. Or leave it short and then plan to chip in. That's normally a Ben thing.
Ben doesn't play the Champions Tour anymore. And, gave it up a couple of years ago, but still great to see him. He's a wonderful man and friend to all of us, and especially Augusta National.
He's made 3 holes in 1 over the years in the par 3 contest. Only Gary Player with 4 has more. We'll see a lot of Gary Player during our live coverage on ESPN, which begins at 3 Eastern time. We'll be with you from 3 to 5 on ESPN today.
One of the great historians of the game. He'll sit down and talk to you about golf course design and flowers and trees until you can't stand it anymore.
Justin Rose at the 3rd hole. 90 yards, second shortest. The holes range from 70 to 140 yards. On the 9th tee, Craig Stadler. One of 24 former Masters champions in the field. We have 9 players in this field who have won the par 3 contest at one time or another over the years. Rafa Cabrera Bello's caddy with some help from Nick Faldo. You guys going to be able to provide rulings as some of these things transpire in front of us here today?
Is that
there's
considered outside agency when you're holding
Absolutely.
the hair of your opponent?
Absolutely.
Caddy? Add 2, baby.
This is John Rahm's girlfriend and caddy, Kelly Cahill. That was Sofia Cabrera Bello, who got some assistance from Nick Faldo. Oh. A lot of people like John Rahm's chances this weekend. Now the number 3 player in the world.
And believe it or not, has really come under the radar. I mean, last year he was kind of one of the hot guys we talked a lot about here. At number 3 in the world, this guy can really play. And I love his golf swing. He can hit it so hard. You watch him swing at the golf ball, and his legs remind me a lot of Nicklaus in his prime, that he really moves through the ball with a lot of power.
Well, there's a lot of really solid players who are considered favorites, but going in here under the radar because of one man, Tiger Woods. We actually talked about Dustin Johnson this morning for the first time this week, and he's the #1 player in the world. But John Rahm, you're right, Andy. Good gosh, is he strong. Big man. They're all big men now. You're 6'4". You were a giant back. We're still a big man. In my heart, anyway. Yeah.
Look at the 9th tee. 135 yards.
They're waiting for the group. It's a pretty decent walk around the lake to get to the 9th green. You know, and you have to corral 2 or 3 kids and stuff. It takes a while to get there.
There's Billy Horschel and his family making the walk around the edge of Ike's Pond. A lot of patrons, as you can tell, as you're watching our coverage, bonus hour of coverage before we greet you on ESPN at 3 o'clock. But as we speak and as this transpires live, there are still players practicing on the Augusta National Golf Club course, getting ready for the Masters. They shut the course down at 3 o'clock, and then all the patrons will be over here to watch the par 3 contest. Justin Rose could not make birdie at the 3rd hole.
And not all of the players in the field play over here at the par 3. Some think it's more important to play 9 holes this morning, practice, take it easy this afternoon. All depends on what you think is best for the next 4 days. But I will say, if you have small children, you're probably going to be over here playing the par 3.
It's Harry Ellis.
Good part to win just take it.
And now, Offie Barnrat.
Winner.
He remains at even par. Right now the lead is 5 under. Tommy Fleetwood, who has completed the 9 holes. Our live coverage, as we mentioned, continues about 45 minutes on ESPN. 9th year we've been privileged to bring you this Wednesday Masters tradition. Now Ben Crenshaw trying to chip in.
Best putter of my generation. You agree, Andy?
Absolutely. Had the best feel of anybody. He
Yeah.
could make putts break whatever direction he wanted to. He could make a 3-footer break 8 feet.
Yeah.
Speed was always spectacular.
You're right. I think he took the highest line as we watched Nick Faldo. Ben always when he read a putt, took a higher line than anybody else playing the game.
Nick Faldo, of course, be a big part of CBS's coverage of the Masters throughout the weekend. Rafa Cabrera Bello.
Well, he's got a good swing.
Mm-hmm.
They all do, but some stand out, and that one stands out a bit more than some of the others.
Larry Mize, Augusta native.
He still plays very well here. Made the cut
Oh, yeah.
a year ago.
1987 champion. One of the most dramatic victories when he knocked it in from off the 11th green. Craig Stadler finishing birdie 2. Bernhard Langer now on the 7th tee.
This is going to be close. May come all the way off the green.
And Andy, you just talked about Larry Mize. Bernhard Langer's had some wonderful finishes here. Top 10s in the last 4 or 5 years. Now 60 years old.
He still strikes the ball well. Works harder than any player his age I've ever seen.
Justin Rose. This is at the 8th hole. As you can see downhill, Dylan Fratelli, 50th ranked player in the world. And there it is.
Number one of many.
That'll be good for a little crystal.
Yes.
Plates, crystal.
But that was another reason that I was encouraged to play over here, because there was crystal involved. Closest to the hole every time.
The record was 9 holes in 1. That was 2 years ago, the last time that this event was completed. Last year, 1 hole in 1 before. Now we have 1 hole in 1 this year. Excuse me, it was rained out last year. But over the years, more and more, as you said, Andy, the hole locations in friendlier spots.
I don't care where they put them. To make 9 in a year is amazing. Hole in 1 of a different variety.
This was just a moment ago after the hole in 1, Ben Crenshaw.
He carried it just far enough it wouldn't come back down the slope. Got it all the way up on the top of the ridge.
Bryson DeChambeau there. Look out. Look out. Bye-bye. He's been playing well, Andy. Played well here last year.
The mad scientist.
Yes.
He's an amazing player.
As long as you believe in what you're doing, it makes no difference at all.
6th hole now, and Nick Faldo for birdie to get to 2 under.
Oh, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
Seventh hole, 2-time Masters champion Bernhard Langer. And he's hung around the leaderboard into the weekend recently as well. Now 60 years old, one of the great players in the history of golf, and particularly on the Champions Tour.
He's won, gosh, how many now out there? 35?
All of them?
34, all of them? They had an incredible run.
I thought a few years ago, back in 14, he had such an amazing year. Won the senior British Open by about 10 shots. I thought he had a chance to be picked for their Ryder Cup team.
36 Champions Tour wins.
Is that all?
36, that's all.
To take a look at the leaderboard, Craig Stadler finished at 1 under. Pat Perez, don't think many people would realize he's the 21st ranked player in the world. He's had a wonderful couple of years. Doc Redman, the U.S. amateur champion, thrilled to be in the field at age 20.
Joaquin Newman, Latin American amateur champion.
19 years old, top ranked amateur in the world. DeChambeau 3 over. And with as aware as he is of a lot of factors, you would think he's well aware of the quote-unquote par 3 jinx. And probably isn't all that distressed, too.
I don't think he has to worry about it at +3.
No. We mentioned Doc Redman. Here he is now on the 5th hole.
Really had a great championship match last year at Riviera. He was 2 down with 2 to play. Went eagle birdie to get in the look out. Went eagle birdie to get in the playoff, and then won on the first hole in the playoff to win the National Amateur. And what a comeback that was.
Has played here before with the Clemson golf team. He's a student at Clemson. Kodira's caddy has a nice swing. That was a moment ago. John Rahm. 7th hole, slightly uphill back toward the clubhouse.
Yeah, a lot of slope from back right to front left in this green.
John's one of those players, and when he gets up there, he just looks like he's going to hit you good shots.
Apparently Rahm took a pretty big divot. Sir Nick's trying to find a place where he can tee it up.
Andy does Nick play much social? I mean, I know he doesn't play any tournament golf anymore, but does he play around?
I don't think he plays that much. I think he's busy enough doing so many things. His junior amateur program around the world is fantastic.
Well, as we see him, he does a lot of television work for the Golf Channel and CBS.
Every once in a while, he'll show up at the Senior British Open, which is nice to see. This year it is at St. Andrews. I would think there's a good chance we'll see him there.
You know, I thought about it for about 60 seconds, and then I woke up in a cold sweat. Would be fun to go back over there and play one more championship.
Especially there.
Yes.
Rafa Cabrera Bello now. You'll be in the final pairing tomorrow, teeing off at 2 Eastern time. Dustin Johnson and Justin Rose. It's nice to hear Dustin Johnson say he's back fully healthy. Had the fall right before the tournament was to begin last year. Hurt his back. Said it bothered him about 6 months. Dylan Fratelli with some help retrieving the hole-in-one ball. First hole-in-one of this 2018 par 3 contest. Just a moment ago at the 8th hole from Dylan Fratelli.
How many hole-in-ones have you had, Sean?
0.
We have to work on that.
We have. Seen a lot of people make them. You've been everything but make them. Hit the cup, blow up the cup, hit the pin. You've been aiming.
You've been aiming at the hole. Let's start maybe aiming away from it a little bit.
It's one of those things that you start to wonder if it's ever going to happen.
It will.
That's really what today's all about, is fun. Memories, enjoy the experience, relax a little bit, allow the family members to be involved. Over to 5 now. You can tell we've seen Justin Rose since the first hole. They move around this course pretty quickly. It usually takes about an hour and 20 minutes for the competitors to complete the par 3 contest.
Total yardage is 1,060 yards.
Everybody mark themselves. We can go ahead and not hit somebody.
That's number one priority today.
Absolutely. This 5th hole is a good enough golf hole. It could be on any course you play. It plays uphill, little narrow green. You've got to play a perfect shot or the ball comes back off the green about 20 yards.
You know, in and of itself, you could put any one of these holes on a big golf course, because I love the little short par 3. Yeah. Look at the postage stamp at Troon. Look at this, the 7th at Pebble. Just when the elements start and the wind starts to blow, they can be as tough as any hole out there. It doesn't have to be 450-yard par 4 to be tough.
In this era of 230-yard par 3s, 130 is, if it's done correctly, can be fantastic.
Oh, yes, yes.
Back at the first tee, getting ready to start the par 3 contest, Gary Woodland.
This is a player, I think, before his career is over, he's going to have a chance to win here. He hits the ball very, very high, hits it very long, goes through stretches where he plays some amazing golf.
Four, please.
But you should think this course would fit him very nicely.
Matt Kuchar, always popular around the world, particularly here at Augusta National. Played college golf at Georgia Tech, a couple of hours down the road in Atlanta.
Four, please. Daniel Berger on the tee.
Finished 10th place here 2 years ago, so nice player, fits the golf course. Not afraid. Gutsy little player.
And he can definitely move it out there.
You know, we talked about the fitness and the young players, but they truly are, in person they're almost thin, but they're so fit. There's not an ounce of fat on most of these players, and therefore they can spin, move the body, the course so quickly, and therefore hit it so far.
Yeah.
Dylan Fratelli, the author of the only hole-in-one so far today. That was at 8. Now he's finishing at the 9th.
If this is the 16th hole on the big course on a Sunday afternoon, this would be a very difficult shot. Today it's just fun. You just throw it in there.
Remind you that our live coverage on ESPN of the par 3 contest begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, a little less than a half an hour from now. You see a lot of Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player grouped with Tom Watson. Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth will be grouped together.
Martin Keimer there with a wonderful tee shot, two-time major champion. Boy, he just plays so up and down.
He struggled on this golf course too. He has trouble drawing the ball, and he came here one year and worked so much to try to draw it, and it threw his game off for 6 months.
It's the biggest mistake a young player can try to make. As you hear growing up, everything is from right to left. You got to draw it. You got to draw it. I actually think the faders play the course best because they don't ever miss left.
Yeah, exactly.
Left is dead here in a lot of holes. You know, that left of the second hole was that American Airlines ticket counter, they say.
I thought it was Delta.
Well, he said maybe both of them, whichever you choose.
Bryson DeChambeau now at 9.
This is going to be close. Oh, didn't break.
Back to 1, and Gary Woodland, winner earlier this year at the Waste Management Phoenix Open in a playoff over Ches Reavie.
Look how fast this is.
It's going faster right now than it was a foot off the putter. Daniel Berger with the birdie opportunity that just slides by. I would consider him more of a streaky player. When he gets going, he'll play great for 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
See, but don't anybody on tour can really play, and when they give them their particular week or their good week, they're all good. But I think you consider all of them streaky. It's the great player that plays day in and day out really well. Now, Tiger set a bar that nobody else can achieve. But you look at a Rory McIlroy or Dustin Johnson, they play well a lot of times, but they still can't play at that level that we saw Tiger play back in the early 2000s.
Ben Crenshaw. Yeah, you could hear Ben say the wind came up, and it really did. You could hear the gust through our tower not far from his tee box. 8th hole, John Rahm. Now, he is a competitor. I bet he's one of those guys who would like to win the par 3 contest regardless of the quote-unquote jinx.
He was in Arizona State. His coach was Phil's brother. Phil would come over and play quite a bit with him, and understand they had some very interesting matches that the young amateur didn't always lose.
Tim Mickelson.
Shot there, Nick.
He's hit a lot of good shots
Yeah.
over this past 40 minutes or so since we've been watching. Kuchar at the 2nd hole now.
I said earlier in the telecast, this could be the shortest shot a lot of these players hit this week. And what I mean by that, they're not going to hit it this close to any par 4, and then they're going to go at most of the par 5. So the 70, 60, 70, 80-yard shot is something that is a tweener for a lot of these guys, especially the big hitters.
Remember back when Zach Johnson won, he laid up on all the par 5s and played the par 5s better than anybody in the tournament that year. It's understanding your strengths.
He and Mike Weir, players like that, can still play well here, but they are giving up a lot off the tee. I think they have to be so exact in their play this week.
I remember years ago Tom Watson asking how many players practice hitting a 70-yard shot off a tee. This might be the only time they ever do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I think this generation has done a really good job of understanding to hit it 50 yards, to hit it 60 yards, to hit it 70 yards. I think we all practice that a little bit, but they really, really work at it where they know they can make it go 80 yards whenever they want it to go 80 yards.
Well, they research and they're sponges with all this technical information now. And we've played a little bit more by feel. You know, you got a 60-yard swing, you got a 70-yard feel, you got an 80-yard feel.
First hole, Ted Potter Jr.
Here's a player very quietly is going on to be really a top player.
He kind of disappeared for a while. Resurgence with the victory at Pebble Beach.
4, please. Alex Noren on the tee.
Speak about a good player that
He's
a lot of
stud,
people
isn't he?
don't know anything about. This guy can really play. He's won 5 or 6 times in the last 18 months around the world. Just rocketed up the world rankings.
What position on defense would he play? He looks like a stud.
Probably a safety.
Yeah.
Free safety. Just you hold him up, let me run into him.
Yeah.
Now ranked 15th in the world, the 35-year-old from Sweden.
It took him a little while to figure it out, but boy, since he's figured it out, here's another guy that's got a beautiful golf swing.
And now Rory McIlroy. This is widely considered to be the most anticipated Masters ever, and one of the many reasons why Rory McIlroy, he can win the Masters this weekend. He'll complete the career Grand Slam. So Tiger's return to good form and contention is story number 1, certainly, but that might be 1A.
Well, and I think he's the player that, in my opinion, is the favorite. He's putting the ball very well. His length is ridiculous. The more confidence he gets, the farther he hits it, and he drives it exceptionally straight for a guy who hits it a long way.
And so important that he won 3 weeks ago at the
Absolutely.
API, Arnold Palmer Invitational, to get his confidence, because he has not won in a year or so.
But and you start, I love to talk about, if you take this player at his best or this other player at his best, Rory McIlroy at his best, I think as good as anybody.
Well, I like to explain he's the only guy in the field other than Tiger Woods that can actually lap the field at a big event, and he's proven it.
Yeah.
Won the PGA by 8 shots and won the U.S. Open by 8 shots. Nobody else does that other than Tiger has in the past. And that shows you that he has another gear in which to play.
When he won the Open Championship, I was lucky enough to walk with him a few years ago. And the way he manhandled the par 5s at the end of that, no one was getting to these greens at 2, and he hits driver 5-iron to both of them, makes an eagle in one of them. I mean, it's like he's playing a different game.
And don't think that's so important this week. How you play the par 5s is directly, involved with who wins this Masters tournament.
Matt Kuchar wide right with his birdie putt at the second hole. They're getting ready to go. The marquee pairing among the young guns in this par 3 contest this afternoon. Jordan Spieth, we play with Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas. The 9th hole, Bernhard Langer.
Oops. You play for the win and it doesn't happen, you're going to hit it 50 feet past the hole.
Martin Keimer.
When I watch him play and swing, I wonder, where does he go sometimes when you don't see his name for 6 months or a year? I know he's fought some injuries, but even so, he just looks like he should play well every time he steps on the golf course.
What he did at the U.S. Open a few years ago was on a really hard golf course at Pinehurst was amazing. It was never a contest after the middle of the back 9 on Friday. He was in complete control.
One of the nice men in the game over the years, Larry Mize.
When you talk about rhythm in a golf swing, his hasn't changed for 40 years.
I like his rhythm when he pitches the golf ball.
Absolutely.
When we all remember the
Putts it.
pitch that he hits.
Exactly.
It's so smooth and easy. Something you should look at, Sean, just a bit. Oh, we on air? I'm sorry.
You didn't say that out loud. You're just thinking
sorry,
it.
I was thinking it, yeah. No, he's just, I watch him because we all have a little in our chipping now, and he doesn't.
I have good tempo with the skulls and shanks. It's very smooth tempo. It's just not quite the result that you're looking for. Dustin Johnson, 2 under par. Right now the lead still 5 under for Tommy Fleetwood, followed by the Canadian Adam Hadwin, and then Mike Weir, also from Canada. Mike's 3 under par. Kuchar at the 3rd hole. Rory McIlroy with wife Erica caddying for him today. He's putted better lately. Credits a tip from Brad Faxon. You talk about Ben Crenshaw being one of the great putters. Brad Faxon, another one of the great putters of his era.
Just got him to be a little more comfortable, more relaxed, natural over the putt. Went from a 33-inch putter back to the 34.25-inch putter, which is a big deal putting.
When you struggle with the putter, you start getting into so much technical stuff that you just have to be free and let it happen.
We remind you we are about 15 minutes away now from the start of our live coverage on ESPN. We'll be with you from 3 to 5 Eastern Time. We'll be joined by Tom Rinaldi. Many of the participants this afternoon will be wearing microphones. Daniel Berger at the third hole. First hole now. Speaking of one of those wearing a microphone, Ricky Fowler.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Right out of the chute, he almost dunked it and then got unlucky as it hit the flagstick and came off the front of the green. Just ahead of them, Rory McIlroy at 2.
I'm sorry, but every time I see Roy, I feel like he's got a caddy uniform on. And I've got to look for the number. Oh, no, that's Rory.
No. Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
You guys might want to look in a mirror sometime soon. Justin Thomas, second-ranked player in the world. 5 times winner last season, 2 more already this season. A lot of people fancy his chances this weekend.
I love his attitude on the golf course. He's got a great golf swing. He's got all kinds of game, but he is fearless. He just gets after it.
Now Jordan Spieth. And if there's one group to have, Mike, I'm glad it's this one, because I have a feeling these guys will be talking some stuff to each other as we go along.
3 great buddies.
Yeah, these guys go on the spring break together with a couple others, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, this is good.
Look at this.
Look at here. Look at here.
What was he going to do?
Jordan's brother is caddying for him. Steven. Good basketball player. Played at Brown.
So smart as well.
Great family.
So mom and dad are going to tuck back behind the ropes after the photo op on the first tee.
Steven has said on a few occasions he loves to get Jordan out in the driveway and teach him a lesson or two once in a while.
You want to go measure it? Sure. Come on.
Well, there is a trophy given to the player who hits the closest shot on each of the 9 holes today. So unless somebody knocks it in the cup, you like Jordan Spieth's chances of leaving with some hardware. Kuchar, a birdie at 3. So we're going to say goodbye for this coverage, but remind you that our live coverage on ESPN begins in about 10 minutes. You'll be seeing a lot of these 3 players, 3 of the top 10 players in the world, 3 of the most popular players in the world. Fowler, Spieth, and Thomas grouped together. That's the top of the hour on ESPN.
You can do whatever you want. Probably just leave it out because Jordan's going to.
So an opening birdie for Spieth.
If I was going to watch a group today, I think I might have fun watching this one.
Well, you will get to watch them because you will be, I don't know if you're aware of this, part of our TV coverage at 3 o'clock. Bernhard Langer. Ooh. A tip in by Larry Mize. Think Langer might have had something to do with Martin Keimer's interest in golf growing up. Ricky Fowler with the pin out. Unlucky as he hit the flagstick with his tee shot.
Sometimes you can't aim at it, Sean. That's what we were telling you earlier. If you aim away from it once in a while, you might might get one to go in.
Now look where he's putting this ball. Up sideways. Now take the break and.
Oh, he couldn't leave it short if he did that 20 more times.
So an opening par for Justin Thomas. You'll see much more of them starting in about 9 minutes. Top of the hour on ESPN. Tommy Fleetwood, the leader at the moment in the par 3 contest. So long for a few minutes.